One. Hey, what's up, everybody? Christian Brindle. Welcome back to another episode of the Seven Figures or Bust podcast, the number one podcast in the world for growing your insurance business to seven figures or above. I am joined with a fantastic guest, somebody who is a partner with us, somebody who is a friend of the channel, been on many, many times on the YouTube channel, but first time on the Seven Figures or Bust podcast. I have the one and only Patricia Saint Louis. Patricia, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you, Christian?
I am doing great as well. Sun's shining. It's Saturday. All is well. All is well. I'm super excited for this conversation. Every time we talk and kind of do a long conversation like this, there's always some great insight that comes out of it, and I think there's always something that the audience can take from it and really, transcribe into some real value. Let's kind of go back to the beginning, just on the off chance that nobody knows Patricia. Maybe people haven't seen your YouTube channel. By the way, Patricia has a fantastic YouTube channel. If you're not following it, tell me if I get their name right. It's under the name Kinky Styles 1980. It's got
Yep.
a huge subscriber base. How many subscribers now? 60, 70,000?
60, yep, 61.
61,000 subscribers, does great videos kind of documenting the journey and the growth of her agency. So go follow her on there. I'm actually going to leave a link in the description while I'm thinking about it. I'll mention that for you guys. But anyway, let's go back to the introduction of you being in the space, because I think this is year 4, if I remember correctly, right?
Yes. Yeah, heading to year 4. We're in year 3 right now.
Okay, gotcha. So what was it that got you into insurance in the first place? Where did it all start for you?
Pandemic.
Okay.
So I was
And
working as a registered nurse and pandemic happened and I was scared to go back to work.
yeah.
So I started researching things you could do at home. Well, actually, my cousin had called me and said, "Hey, jump on this Zoom call about selling health insurance." So I said, "Okay." So I go on, and it was Prime America.
Mm. Yes.
I got
So
sucked in.
it's remarkable how many people have their introduction to this space from Primerica. It's crazy to me. Like it's an absolute absurd number of people. Like if I just like listed off the people that I know of that like that was their introduction, you'd be like, whoa, like for me, I'm every time I hear it, I'm like, oh gosh, I'm like another one. My father started in the insurance space in Primerica before it was called Primerica. It's called A.O. Williams back then
Oh,
in,
okay.
in the 80s. It's just crazy. Anyway, I'm sorry. Continue.
No, it's okay. Yeah, so I got sucked in, paid my little $75 fee. And then it was so structured where you had to go to these meetings, these Zoom meetings, be there freaking all day and all morning or whatever. And it was so based on you gotta call your family or friends. You gotta people I don't even talk to on a regular basis. I'm very much of a homebody, stay to myself type of person. So for me to have to call people, be like, "Hey, what you doing? How you been? Do you have life insurance?" It was annoying. So
Yeah.
I quickly got to the, what is it called? No friends left list.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's usually how those go, right? Like they say, make your list and then call through your list, right? That's what they say. And it's like, network to your network. Well, what do you do when you run out of network? You know what I mean? Most normal people don't have like this inner circle of like 5,000 people. They have like an inner circle of people that they actually personally know. I think the average person is like 100, 200 people, maybe not even that for a lot of
Yeah.
people, you know?
And it was so annoying because some people will agree. They'd be like, "You know what? I do need life insurance. Yeah, let's jump on this call." So I would make the appointment, jump on the call with my, what they call him at the time, my regional executive, whatever they, all the positions they had. So she would, well, so it would be me, my lead. That's what I call it. I was feeding you lead. So anyway, that's why I'm so passionate about being careful with companies you're partnered with, but you're actually their lead source. That's why I'm
Right.
so passionate. This experience right here. So, anyways, I'm feeding her these leads, right? Number one, the first three sales, you get zero. You get nothing. You get zero. Your comp level is 25%. If you
Wow. And
ever make it to that comp level, by the way, if you ever get that far. So, anyways, what irritated me is that I had family members and friends that did want life insurance. So I would get them on this Zoom call, and my trainer, my regional person, whatever. So she would talk to them about life insurance and investing. You know, their thing is buy term and invest the rest, right?
right.
But then she would recruit them. Same car. I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you trying to recruit this person? So yeah. So people would get turned off. They would get so upset. Like, why did you have me on this call? I just wanted health insurance, life insurance. And I have a job, like I don't need to be recruited. So I would get in
Wow.
arguments after the call. Because I'd be like, why are you trying to recruit them? I told you this person is a registered nurse, like, because I'm a nurse, right? I'm
Right.
bringing professional individuals, nurses, like, why are you trying to recruit them to sell freaking life insurance when they actually wanted to buy the product?
So
So
what was the person's response when you confront them about that? You're like, "Why are you trying to do this? Like that's not what I thought this call was about." What's their response?
it was more like, we have to we're trying to help you build your team and that type of thing. It was such a cult. And it
And
just,
you're like, "I just started. We're building teams now." Right? You know.
exactly. I
It
remember one time she was like, you're going to have such a strong team because so many people that want to join are men. I'm just like, oh my
you're like, "What?" It's it's so funny to me, right? Like there's Primerica is the granddaddy of the MLM insurance business models, right? Like they're the first ones, as far as I know, that did insurance and that MLM style kind of agency. But now there's a lot of them. There's a lot of these MLM type style agencies. And to me, like it's so wild, in terms of just they all kind of teach the same thing. They teach number one, recruiting's better than selling, which I couldn't agree less with. Number two, when you are selling, you're networking to your network to your network. And I'm like, I don't know how you feel, Patricia, but for me, I would rather sell insurance to somebody that I don't know personally. Like that's been my experience as an agent over the years is like it always like complicates the personal relationship when you sell something to somebody it's like a little uncomfortable, a little awkward, like you get together at family get-togethers and they're like their plan isn't working maybe right and they're like angry but they're afraid to tell you they're angry, like I would so much rather sell insurance to someone I don't know and through marketing or lead generation or something like that than a family member. I mean, um, I don't know if you feel that way as well.
yeah, and they avoid your calls because you're calling them because you want something, not because
Yes.
you literally calling to see how they're doing.
Yeah, it wrecks the relationships, with people that you know and you care about. And it's such a weird business model to me. Like, my early years before I did insurance when I was like early 20s, 18, 19, I did a couple MLMs myself and I'm like looking back on it, I'm like, this is strange. This is so weird. Like the one that we were in, or the one that I got in the most serious before I did insurance, we were selling healthy energy drinks and it was like a $500 buy-in. So like the minimum buy-in was $500 and you get like $500 worth of product, like this healthy energy drink product. And the company ended up getting shut down for being a pyramid scheme like 2 years after I got out. Like it was like in court and like, dragged through the mud and everything like that. But anyway, they wanted us to market to people we knew. Well, when you're 19, you know other 19-year-olds. You
Exactly.
know what I mean? Like, and so when you're 19 and you know other 19-year-olds, what do 19-year-olds not have? Usually $500 to blow. You know what I mean? So like it was insane, like um and yeah, it this is when you mix insurance and that business model, that MLM business model, it's really weird. But they do introduce a lot of people amazingly to the space. There's so many people I know that that's where they started. Ultimately, it's not where they found success, but that was the introduction to the industry.
Yeah, definitely. I remember someone was trying to recruit me before nursing school when I was about 19 in Prime America.
Oh, really?
Yes, and I remember saying, I don't want to do that. I want to be a nurse. They was like, you want to be a nurse? Like, kind of like telling me I was a loser, pretty much. Like you're not gonna be successful, you know?
You're like a
Yeah.
nurse? Are you kidding me? And Grant, and like probably at the time you're making more than they are. Like, because a lot of these people that are recruiting you in Primerica and a lot of these MLMs, like they're most of the time they're lower on the totem pole. Like they're trying to climb the totem pole and their compensation structure requires them to recruit to do that. So like that's what I learned early on too, is like some of these people in this MLM like that are recruiting you, like they're doing worse than you are.
Yes. And it's such a cult. The minute you're like, I don't want to do this anymore, you're like scum to them. Like, yeah. It's such a fake relationship, you know? They call you ongoing, you're talking to them every day, they're your best friend. The minute you're like, I don't want to do this, it's like, oh, you suck, you know? So yeah,
Yeah. So, insurance Scientology. But anyway.
that was my
Okay.
introduction.
So Primerica, you go through that experience. Do you immediately get into a different situation with insurance after that, or is there some time that passes? Like, what does that next step look like?
So at that point, when I was like, don't want to do this, I got over my fear and went back to nursing, doing travel nursing. But I was still intrigued. I'm like, there's something still good about this insurance thing, but Prime America is obviously not it. But there's something in this. So I started doing more research, going on YouTube, and I got into life insurance. Did pretty well until I got a lot of chargebacks.
Yes.
I remember I made what, $20,000, and then this chargeback starting, right? So I'm just like, this is not good. This doesn't feel good. This sucks. But I
Yeah.
was a registered nurse, so I chargebacks was nothing. But I didn't want to write all this business, chargebacks, all this business, chargebacks. So it made any sense.
Yeah.
When I figured through my research that you could sell Medicare, I was like, okay, this is what I wanna do.
Yeah.
And my
Yeah.
specialty was already in Medicare as a nurse, so it kind of went hand in hand.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I remember when we first met, my first thought is I was like, it's a match made in heaven, like Medicare and you being an RN, I'm like, it's a perfect match. So how long are you doing life after Primerica before you discover Medicare? Is it a matter of months? What does that timeline look
I would
like?
say months. I was
Okay.
doing life insurance for, I would say, a few months. And when I seen the chargebacks, it just wasn't worth it to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I
So
feel like I was a good salesperson because for some reason they didn't want to say no, but they
yeah,
couldn't afford it, you know? So it was just like, this is not gonna work.
right. So they pay maybe 1 month of premium or maybe and then it bounces after that. Yeah, and life insurance is tough. I mean, there's a lot of money that can be made in life insurance, as you know, but it is much more difficult than Medicare from a attrition standpoint, from a retention standpoint. And there's a lot more chargebacks and yeah, that's always definitely a big part of that game. This video is sponsored by none other than Lead Heroes, you guys. Lead Heroes is going to be your one-stop shop when it comes to your Medicare and final expense needs. People ask me all the time, Christian, what type of lead is going to be the best quality for me to work? And I don't really quite know if the answer is going to be a digital marketing lead, a direct mail lead, or a telemarketed lead, but I can say that a telemarketed lead is going to be up there with the best of them in terms of quality. A telemarketed lead has unique quality to it because there's a live person that actually speaks to the prospective customer and gets their verbal consent that they're interested and willing to speak with a licensed agent just like you. Whether it be a pre-scheduled Medicare appointment with a scope of appointment captured and then scheduled on your calendar 48 hours out, or whether it be a custom calling campaign where you call the shots, where your scripts are used, where it's the areas of your choosing, when it's the times of the day that you're choosing. Custom calling is where you pay by the hour, and essentially it's a custom campaign built to your liking. Lead Heroes has got you covered for all of these unique type of marketing needs for agents. There's a link down in the description of this video about Lead Heroes. You can learn more about these incredibly unique lead generation services, and I think you'll want to check it out today so you can continue to grow and explode your business. Walk me through just a little bit about Medicare, that next chapter. How does Medicare start? How do you get started in it? What does that all look like?
Okay, so I found you. So I was actually on a forum for life insurance, and I typed in, do anybody sell Medicare? And everybody was like, no, we don't sell Medicare. Life insurance is
There's no money in Medicare.
Yeah, exactly. There's no money in Medicare. No. You know? But someone sent me a DM. They was like, look up this guy, call him Christian Brindle, and reach out to him. What was her name? No, I forgot.
I don't want to say it on the recording, but
Yes,
I'll tell you after the recording. I'll tell you after the recording.
Yeah, so she's the one that said, hey, reach out to Christian. So I reached out to you, started my contracting. I was doing nursing and selling Medicare part-time.
Yeah.
So that's how we started Medicare.
And you know, one thing I noticed about you from the get-go is like you were a really hard worker. And I always really liked that about you, because there's a lot of agents that we see, as you can imagine, right? Like we see a lot of agents come in and out and in and out, and you know, a lot of them can't be bothered. You know, they're like, well, I have time Thursday at 6 p.m. for 2 hours a week, and that's pretty much what I got. I'm like, wait, so I'm like, how is that going to work? You know, I'm like, what? You know, like, they're like, well, actually, this Thursday, now that I think about it, I have my kid's swimming lesson. And so we're going to have to miss this Thursday. I'm like, what is this? You know, like, I'm like, it sounds to me like you're too busy to do this. But yeah, I mean, you know, you were a hard worker, and also you were very innovative in wanting to experiment with new ways of trying to grow your business and try new things. And I've always felt like that is the real key to succeeding, I think, in the insurance business is finding what works for you, but also like trying and experimenting with new ways of growth and new ways of kind of getting yourself out there, and just that creativity behind promoting your business and marketing your business and getting in front of clients. I think that's such a tremendous key. And so many agents, they're like, we can give them a template and sometimes it works, but other times it's like, well, you know, we work with 500 agents now, and the ones that are doing really well, I can honestly say that none of them are doing the exact same things. Like it's all very different in terms of how they're growing their business. But yeah, so we start working together. Then what does the next couple of years look like from the standpoint of, you know, obviously I don't want to jump ahead in the story, but you know, I remember pretty early on in that time frame, you pay your house off, you pay your mortgage off.
Yep.
Which, you know, is congratulations to you, by the way. That's a tremendous. How many years did it take? Very few, from what I remember.
It was 3 years.
3 years. What was the ultimate strategy for you to do that? Was it figuring out how much you'd have to pay on a monthly basis to just completely be done with it? Or what was the strategy?
Yeah, so I use this calculator. It's like a pay off your mortgage calculator. You put in the interest, how much you owe, and how much you want to pay additional. And yeah, so play with the number, and then I would just get so like, at first it was like, okay, I think I started out, I know some people gonna think I'm crazy, but I started out with, first I did a budget. So I looked at all the, my budget, how much I was spending on gas, everything down to the T, everything. And I was like, I'm spending a lot on food, or I'm spending a lot on entertainment, or whatever the case may be, right? So I'm like, if I just don't do these extra things for a few years, I could throw that into the mortgage. So, and I was a registered nurse at the time, obviously. It wasn't from Medicare money or anything like that, okay?
Right.
So, I want to be transparent. So, I was a registered nurse. I was doing well. I made about 10,000 a month. So, let's be honest, I did well. So, I would take about $800 a month and pay it towards my principal. And if I got a raise, I would just add that to it. And I started working extra. So I would work, extra when I didn't have my kids, I would work extra, and all of that money I would just dump it into the mortgage. It got to the point where I was so like I just wanted to complete this goal, and I was documenting it as well on YouTube. So I wanted to show that I could do it. And by putting it on YouTube, it gave me accountability.
Yeah.
So I knew I had to do it. So I would do more and more. Before you know it, I was doing like $2,000 extra every month. It was crazy. And it was automatic. So it would come out of my account automatically towards the principal. And before you know it, I was just knocking down the interest. It was crazy.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to take me about 6 to 7 years, but it took me 3. So,
And that's tremendous. That's tremendous on that. And so ultimately, right, you start selling, and I also know that, along the way, you start selling health insurance too, start selling ACA, and and I remember as time goes on, you're trying different things, we're working together to try to, figure out the best strategies for you. You really start to figure it out, in terms of like producing and kind of bringing your business forward. You buy an office. What was that
yeah.
experience like?
I think the reason why I was able to purchase the office, I was able to, have marketing dollars. Number one was that mortgage. I got rid of the mortgage. So that helped me a lot. And
Yeah.
also, I started travel nursing, which gave me more money. Since I didn't have the mortgage, I had so much money to save. It was insane. So I used that money to get the office. So it's like all these little things that I was doing help with the building block of my business.
Yeah.
I didn't even know I was going to become a Medicare broker when I started the journey of paying off my mortgage. But just that little seed of saying I want to pay off my mortgage took me to another seed, took me to the next idea. And that's how I progressed. I remember I was talking to you and we was talking about the office. I was like, should I buy an office? You think it makes sense? Because it's not like I had this great book of business at that point,
Right.
but
Right.
I just believe in myself. I believe in that I had to take it seriously at some point. Because when I was doing it part-time as a nurse, people would say, oh, I would love to meet you on a Monday. Oh, I can't. I don't want to say I have a full-time job. I'm available this Saturday, or I'm available at 5 p.m. It becomes harder when you're building a business, but you're treating it more like a hobby.
Right.
So I
Right.
knew at some point I had to break away from my cushion, my $10,000 a month as a nurse. At some point, I had to give that up if I really wanted to build my business. So that's how I was able to get the office
Got it.
because of nursing.
So talk a little bit about when you did make the transition from full-time nursing away from it. Was it scary?
It was very scary. I was terrified.
Yeah.
I purchased this office with all these issues. Thank
Mm.
God my friend stepped in to be like, I'll help you. We
Yeah.
did everything. Like we painted the walls. We had to put in a new toilet, a new sink. It was crazy, but I was terrified. I had enough money to get the office, but then did I know what to do next? No, I had no clue what I was doing.
Yeah.
But like, let's do it.
Yeah. And they don't make a manual for that kind of stuff. There is no instruction step-by-step guide. It's kind of like, there's a lot of kind of trial and error and figuring things out. And the office looks tremendous, by the way. I've had the pleasure of being there and, and visiting, and, it looks really, really good. And you've done a great job, and your friend did a great job in helping with it. And so it looks really good. Talk a little bit, because your agency is doing really well now. It's really cooking. You're doing very well. Your business is growing, and I love to see it. I'm just so excited for what the next couple of years are going to look like for Patricia. I just think there's so much. I think the best is ahead. Talk a little bit about what do you feel like has been the biggest keys to your growth and you really making it as an agency, right? Because I feel like the hardest spots of starting as an agent is the first few years. I think it is definitely the hardest because nobody knows who you are. You don't know anything. You have to learn so much. You have to learn how to get in front of people. You have to learn kind of what your niche is going to look like in terms of promotion and marketing. You have to learn product knowledge. You have to learn about the carriers. There's so much you have to learn. And so you're through that now. Your business has a great foundation now and it's growing and it's going to continue to grow. What do you feel like has been the success points? Like what has kind of caused that for you?
For me, I think it's me being a little bit of everywhere in a sense. Like I would say, let me try some Facebook ads, or let me go out in the community. Let me put a table here, and just doing all the little extra little bits help me, Like I may get 6 calls from someone watching a YouTube video. I may get a few calls from someone watching a TikTok video. And this is crazy. I don't have a lot of views. It's not like I don't have that many views really. My Life and Med channel is only about 3,000 subscribers. And I still get leads from that.
Yeah.
TikTok, I only have about 600 subscribers. Someone called me last night and was like, hey, I seen your video. I'm on your link right now. I'm trying to figure out how I do this application because I put in my marketplace link. So it's like all these little connections work.
Yes.
So what really grew my business was ACA, right? I want to sell Medicare. Of course I want to sell Medicare, but the market is it's just such a smaller market. And I'm in Florida. Florida, there's so many agents, it's ridiculous. So you have to figure out, okay, I want to break into the market, but what is the best strategy for my situation? So I said, under 65, there's a lot more in the pool. I'm turning 2 every day, turning 10, turning 50, right? So let's try under 65. So I started ACA and I just found myself going out in the community and I connected with other people that wanted to help me, which is crazy. I'm like, I didn't look out. I didn't go searching for anyone. They came to me, hey, you doing Medicare? I mean, you're doing ACA. I have a business where I could actually help you get more ACA clients. So I'm just building like these connections with other companies, other businesses, and they're helping me. Like I get so many ACA referrals, it's crazy. And if I didn't put myself out there, if I was like, no, I just want to sell over the phone. No, I just want to buy leads.
Yeah.
I just want to be in my office. I don't want to leave. Like, no, I had to put myself out in the community and try different things. Some things are going to work and some things are not going to work. So
Yeah.
I'm taking my ACA business to help grow the Medicare business. I mean, I still have a decent Medicare book, but my ACA book it's crazy. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it makes a lot of sense, and I think they go very well hand in hand together. Took me too many years to realize that, I think. I figured it out more the last couple of years that they go very well together. But like before that, I'm sure as you remember, I was like, oh no,
I was waiting for my contract in the year. You're like, I'm not doing ACA.
I'm like, God, no, like, and that was a blind spot for me at that point in time, right? So, but I think they go very well hand in hand together, right? Because, you have ACA clients that are going to age into Medicare. They're going to refer you people they know on Medicare. They're going, you have, let's say you're writing somebody on Medicare and the spouse is 62. You can write them too that, like there's so many reasons why I think they go so well together and they kind of definitely can support each other. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense and you've executed and done incredibly well, with that model. I want to be respectful of your time. There's 2 more questions I have for you. talk a little bit about YouTube. You started the YouTube channel originally a long time ago, right? Like quite some time ago. Take us back to that if you would, and what was the inspiration for starting it? Was it just, I want to express myself, I want to talk about this and that, and but or did you ever have a vision it would grow to what it is today? Talk about it a little bit.
No, back then, being on YouTube was kind of like, you're on YouTube, like get a life.
Right.
But I was growing out my natural hair, and I was just like, I seen other naturals doing it, growing out their hair on YouTube. I was like, why not? Like I said, I'm a homebody, and I was like, I just turn on the camera and see if I could grow my hair out. Accountability. If I turn on the camera, I'm gonna do it.
Yep, that's right.
So I cut all my hair off. Like my hair was like this long, right? Back it's called a TWA, teeny weeny afro. So I had my teeny little afro, and I would, so I'm gonna, wash my hair today or whatever. And I would do like a challenge where every 3 months I would show my growth. I think it was every 3 months or every 6 months, I would show how long my hair had gotten. So I grew my hair really long, my natural hair, which this is my natural hair too, but it's in locks now. So I grew my loose natural hair really long to my waist. That was like a 6-year journey. So 6 years of me just making videos about my hair.
Yeah.
And then after that, I decided to lock it. And then I did the journey of paying off my mortgage. So yeah,
I love it. I love it. I mean, it shows versatility, right, on your channel, because like your channel, I look at it like your channel is like what's going on with Patricia. Like what is going on in your life at that point in time. And that's probably one of the best types of channels you can have because it can be anything. It can pivot to anything and your audience is not going to be that shocked, because they're used to transition and they're used to different kind of things. If like one question I get a lot, and I'm sure you do too, is, and my YouTube channels are not nearly what yours are, in terms of the followings or anything like that. But I get asked all the time from people that want to break out into YouTube and they just don't know where to begin. Like sometimes people just have this fear of putting themselves out there and it has to be perfect and everything like that. What advice would you give to somebody that's watching if they wanted to get into YouTube?
That's a good question. I say just do it. I
Yeah.
mean, I think a lot of people they don't want to do YouTube because they feel like they're talking to the wall or they're talking.
Yeah.
But no, I feel like I'm talking to my audience when I'm talking. Like I know I'm looking at the camera lens and everything, but I feel like because I don't know. And it's so funny. I feel like my person, you can tell me this or not, but I feel like my personality is not the same person when I turn on the camera. I feel like I'm more bubbly and whatever, right?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
like that side of me. I like that side of me because when I'm at work, I'm so serious. I'm so like, we got to get this done. Like we
Yeah.
got, like we here to make money. Like
Yeah.
when it comes to YouTube, I don't really care about like making money on. I just want to make connections, and I love it. And I love this silly part of me, and I can show that on YouTube. In the beginning, I had to tone it down because some people would get so upset. They're like, I can't watch this video. You're too giddy. You're too all this stuff, right? So I tone myself down a little bit on camera. But I am a goofball, right? So I like showing that
Yeah.
side of me. So I like to do it on camera. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think YouTube allows you to express yourself, and kind of the way that you want to express yourself. Maybe like you can't, or, maybe it's an uncomfortable thing to try to do in regular life. Like for me, I can't film videos if there's other people in the office. I can't do it. I have to be like alone. And if I'm doing like an interview like this and I'm talking to somebody, it's fine. I can do it with people who are in the office. But like this room next to me, and now is full of cubicles and full of, our team members, our employees. So they're like literally right next to me. So if I'm in here and I film a video by myself and I'm like, because same with me, I'm not the same person off camera as I am on camera. I'm just trying to play it up a little bit for the camera at times. you know, and they're like right there. And I'm like, this is so awkward. I'm like, I'm like, obviously I'm their employer, I'm their boss, if I want to, I can just be like, they're never going to be, they're never going to come to me and be like, you sound like shit. That's not going to happen. But my anxiety cannot let me do it. Now I can only do videos where I'm interviewing somebody or there's like a, person involved with me when people are here. But outside of that, like I need the office empty. That's why I come in on Saturdays and do it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I have to. Like, I just can't. Like, I've filmed videos in the office. I filmed this like video. I don't know if you saw it. I filmed this like movie parody, this movie scene parody a couple weeks ago about the
Oh,
summit, and everybody was in the office. And like to make that right, like I needed somebody to film me from different angles. So there's one of my employees
okay.
literally standing 2 feet from me, and I'm like screaming in her face. Because like I had to get it. I had to scream because in the scene they're screaming in the movie scene, and everyone in the office could hear me in every room. And I was like, I was so like mortified. I was like, it's for the greater good. I'm like, this is horrible. And yeah, I mean, so like if anybody feels that way and you want to get into YouTube, I guess where I'm going with that is for me, it helped me a lot if I filmed videos alone. I felt more comfortable. It felt like it was just me. If there's someone in the other room, even to this day, like I've made 1,500 YouTube videos, and even to this day, I can't do it in front of somebody else. I have a really hard time. I have a really hard time doing that.
You know what? You want to hear something funny? So
Yes.
I just hired a new person, right? He starts Monday. He's a guy, which I'm like, oh my gosh, how that's gonna be? Because I don't know, I feel like guys should be the one more like, I don't know. Nobody, please don't call me sexist or anything, but I just find guys to be more of like the administrator role or the boss or whatever. So I'm like, I don't know how this is gonna work because he's a guy.
Like operations or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I always wanted a female, but I'm like, you know what? Let me just try this person. Let's see. And I'm gonna train him to edit my videos. That is so cringe. I'm like cringing. I'm like, oh my gosh. I don't want him to see me filming, but I mean, I'm gonna film at home probably. But him editing, he's probably thinking this girl is crazy.
It took me a little while to get over that too. Like I would be like, I've gotten more comfortable with that, and you will too, I'm sure, like so let's see. 2022, Celeste was editing my video. She was the first one that ever did it other than me. And I was just like, I'd send her, I would clean some of them up before I would even send them to her. Cause like there'd be a spot that would be so embarrassing. I'd be like, I don't want her to see this. And I would cut it out. So she'd be like, did you already edit this? I'm like, no, I just took out like the worst part. I didn't want you to see it. And she was like, you're silly. She's like, you're ridiculous. She's like, just send me the whole thing. Let me do this. You don't have to, you shouldn't be spending your time on this. So like she really had to like get after me to be like, stop editing the video before you send it to me. Like that's part of my job. Let me do it. And so I got more comfortable with it as time went on. So like I'm not as jittery about someone editing the videos at this point. It's not the same as if somebody's like hearing me record the video, but if they watch it later, I'm like, that's okay. I've gotten through that. But I had that same thing early on. But like, 2023, Emma edited them, and now Andrea's editing them. So like I've gone through a iteration of people that have edited my videos, and I've gotten more comfortable with it. And now it's, and I think that's probably what will happen with you too. It'll be like after you do it for a few months, you're like, oh, no biggie. I picked my nose, who cares, or something. Not that that happens on videos. It doesn't happen on videos, but you get the point.
Next question. You say, yeah, one more question.
Yes. So one more question. So where can people connect with Patricia? What is the best way? And obviously, you do coachings, you do a lot of things to work with people that are trying to, get started and kind of grow their business. Where can people find you?
On YouTube.
YouTube's the best place. As I mentioned,
Yeah.
we're gonna drop the link to Patricia's channel in the description of this video, guys. So check it out. Go follow, go subscribe, watch the videos. She does a great job. Her content is super good. I watch it as much as I can, as much as I have time for. I try to pay attention. So yeah, go check out Patricia. Thank you for doing this, by the way. This was fun as always. very informative, super valuable, and I think the audience will get a lot out of it.
Thank you for having me.
Any time, as you know. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching all the way to the end. If you made it all the way to the end, you are the real MVP in this video. You know the drill. If you like this video, the only way I'm going to know about it is like, comment, subscribe. The better this video performs, that way we'll do videos more like it in the future. And we'll see you guys next time with another episode of the Seven Figures or Bust podcast. Thanks, everybody.